We've qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete.
This is gonna be complete spoilers for everyone. But I've heard some very mixed things about the Batman movie, so I wanted to ask how it was yesterday.
I think I liked it the least out of the group of us who went to see it, but I still thought it was okay. I didn't dislike it or anything. I liked it a lot more than I like most of the Batman movies.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Like, as Batman movies go, it's probably the top 2. But I mean, there's some not bad Batman movies, but like it's a more serious
there
Batman
are
movie.
some bad Batman movies.
There are 1 or 2 bad ones, but it's a more serious Batman movie. And the worst thing about it, and this is just me personally, it's 3 hours, and I just think it's a long time to be sat in a cinema.
There was like 4 times I thought the movie was about to end, and then it kept going for like another 10, 20 minutes each time. So I must have felt like I was about to end after about 2 hours. So that last hour was a bit odd to me. I was like, is this the ending? Is this the ending?
It's a very different kind of movie to a lot of things I've seen as well. Like, the pacing of it is really weird, which is kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing. I think if you see it, you might know what I mean. And some of the dialogue, honestly, is like, I loved the score, the sound, the music is unreal, and some of the dialogue is kind of naff.
It's some of it's shocking enough, yeah.
It is, but I think it's an interesting take on Batman.
This is it. Sure. It's like, at least it's something different, even though lots of people were joking about how the Batman movies just are always dark and gritty every time. But this was actually full on different from every other superhero movie out at the moment. It was like it's like a dark mystery thriller more than a superhero movie. It's like Seven, if you ever saw Seven. I don't know.
Yeah,
Brad Pitt.
It is actually.
It's really like Seven, a bit PG-7. Like, there's no, it's not as brutal as Seven or as pessimistic and like depressing as Seven, because it's still a superhero movie. But it's really like that. A bunch of creeping around in dark rooms with flashlights, looking for clues or whatever, and brutal murders, which is so different for a superhero movie that whatever else about it, I'll give it credit for at least being different to fucking Iron Man's 5 or whatever fuck, and trying to stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And at least no one was cheering in the cinema. You know, the way they do that superhero
Fucking
movies.
hell.
There was no cheering.
There was almost no comedy in it either, which was a relief. There are some jokes. There are some bad jokes, but I hate how in Marvel movies, even during serious moments where it's like fucking someone dies, they always undercut it with a joke or some levity or comic relief because they're afraid of being sincere. Like, they just have to put little jokes in everywhere. It's like, it drives me fucking mental, these movies. I can't watch them anymore. But at least in this, it took itself seriously. And when you take yourself seriously, it opens you up to being mocked or being like, people look at you as the movie as being like full of itself. But that's the risk you got to take to make a serious movie, which it did. So I respect that.
Yeah, but I think there is a danger with these kind of movies now where it's like it's taking itself too seriously. It's like it's still Batman. Like, it's still, the premise of this is still so fucking stupid that no one knows who Bruce Wayne is.
It is ridiculous. There's stuff you just have to ignore because in real life, nothing like this could ever happen.
Like that made sense in like the 60s and 70s, but now that there's fucking DNA and all this shit, it's so ridiculous. So much of it is ridiculous, and you have to take it as being ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then it goes so close to being like into the gritty side of things and into the reality side of things that you're like, just be careful, because everyone in the cinema knows that this is a fucking stupid premise.
Mm-hmm.
So once you start thinking that you're too good for a superhero movie, you're gone too far. So it just teeters on that for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fucking movie podcast all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because all the points that you've said are actually ones that I've heard from other people, apart from the lads and yourself, where it was like it feels like it's an hour too long. Relieved that it wasn't another origin movie because I don't know how
Yeah, holy
we can
Jesus.
still
yes. Mm-hmm.
everyone knows at this point too. But actually, interesting like that you said there, Adrian, that you can't really go into too much of the nitty gritty of these type of characters anymore because we've seen so many films. Like we've seen like a good 25 years of the Batman now at this point, where we've seen it on the comical side and the very, very serious side now. But I wonder for like a younger audience, like is it very poorly written then as a storyline now, where it's like, oh yeah, a billionaire or a billionaire's son who saw his parents get killed, but has like infinite resources to just make these crazy suits and cars, which maybe a kid now will be like, well, they can't do that.
This is a kind of a plot point in it, though. That's what you're talking about. It is kind of addressed in the movie a little bit.
Well,
Yeah, that's
good
true.
job.
Yeah.
Actually,
Good
not
job,
even
Matt
not
Reeves.
even a little bit. That's a big part of it.
Like what
Here
see
we
the
go.
problem with these superhero movies is that originally they were inspired by comic books, but there was loads of different types of comic books. There was loads of different Batmans and loads of different olders, and that's what Marvel are trying to do. They're trying to like explain why it's okay to have Spider-Man die in one comic book, but he's okay in another comic book, and in another comic book he's got a blonde girlfriend, and another one he has a ginger girlfriend, and they're doing that by just saying, well, actually, there's multiple universes, which is fucking stupid because it means that basically anything you see can kind of be undone. It's a bit Rick and Morty-ish. Rick fucking dies and no one cares because there's another Rick somewhere else. So everything that we're taught to care so much about and care so much about this character, it actually doesn't matter a fuck because there's just another one in another universe that they can swap to there.
Yeah,
So
it's the problem anytime you introduce alternate universes or time travel into movies. It's great for one movie. You can do it once, but then it opens up a big fucking box of tricks that like you can't close that box again. There's so many like, well, why didn't they just do this? Or wait, how does that work if you can do this? Or why should I care about this if they can change it or go somewhere else or do whatever? It ruins it going forward. Like the Terminator series, it ruined itself because it's all time travel and things getting undone. So like, how can you even keep that going? It's just turned into a big fat mess, that whole franchise. And it happens anytime people introduce time travel or alternate universes and things. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, good. I think it must have been an interesting film enough if there's that many talking points in it. I'm not sure entirely how I'll segue it into football, but I've seen a lot of the footballing world has been, I suppose, social accounts have been asking the question of, is there more doors or more wheels in the world? Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm. I did, yeah.
no.
No? Well, Flynn, I suppose with the advantage of kind of seeing perhaps things on it, like what's your take? Apparently it's divided the world, but we'll see.
Yeah, after thinking about it for ages, eventually you come to asking yourself, well, what is a door and what is a wheel? Because if is a gear a wheel? Like if a gear is a wheel, then there's a lot of gears, there's a lot of wheels in the world. And what's a door then? Is a door something with a handle on hinges, or is it just like any kind of flap or like barrier that you can open?
I'm sure it's, as simple as, a tire, like a car tire or a bike tire. Are there more of those or more doors in houses? Like, I would simplify it to that. That's still a pretty tough question, but I'd imagine doors.
My first thought was doors, but after thinking about it a little bit, I think it's probably wheels.
Really? I don't know. At least I would say probably every person in the world. No, that's not even fair. But a huge majority of people in the world have their own door because most people have their own bedroom. Not everyone has their own car. And I know there's 4 wheels on a car, but definitely way less people than every person in the world has their own car. So that's my justification.
Also, but you also think about how wheels are replaced so often. Like you don't see big fucking yards full of piles of doors the way you see places full of wheels.
It's true, and I think that you need to look at it a different way. We tend to look at it from a personal perspective, where you say, well, I've got 8 doors in my house and I've got a car which has 4 wheels, so therefore more doors than wheels. But really, there's probably a lot more, like, I don't know, factories, or in terms of size, than there is residential houses, maybe. And then you're looking at, like, I don't know, imagine a big printing factory. So it's probably only got a few doors because, it's a big open factory floor. But each one of those machinery has, like, those tiny, like, printer wheels that spin. That's highly outnumbered then. So it depends on whether there's more industrial or residential. Yeah.
And
well, that's why I
conveyor
was
belts,
trying. That's why I was trying to simplify it to like tires over wheels. But I mean,
if it's
a rabbit
tires,
hole.
if it's just tires, car tires, it's doors. Because even on a car, you have 4 to 5 doors.
True.
Yeah.
So that cancels out any wheels on the car, basically.
Yeah.
If it's just that, then it's doors. But otherwise, if like any small wheel, like even Hot Wheels cars or whatever, like toys, or like in drawers, like the way you pull out a drawer, it's on these little railings with wheels.
Yeah.
There's like 4 or 5 wheels in every drawer or something. And getting into machines. This is a problem with, like, is a wheel just like a circular thing on an axle that spins?
I think you'd have to define it like that, right? Because when you say that, when man invented the wheel, it wasn't a Pirelli tire.
Exactly.
It was a ruck with a stick through it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we on the wheel side of things?
I think
if it's that, then
am.
it's got to be wheels.
Yeah. So it isn't dividing the PUPcast world. It's quite one-sided.
We always agree.
Yeah, I know, right?
Which is a better invention, the wheel or controlling fire?
What do you mean controlling fire?
Like, fire, the way humans can use fire.
You just mean fire?
I just mean, like, because humans didn't invent fire. They just, they can make fire and use fire, like the way animals can't.
Fire, surely, because I don't think we would have got to an evolutionary stage to be able to have thought of the concept of a wheel without being able to, like, stay warm, survive, change our diets, become stronger.
Yeah, I was thinking this because I think fire takes you so far. Fire can take you to, like, kind of caveman early societies where, like, you can travel further because you can light the way at night, or you can stay warm in cold conditions, and you can cook food or whatever, or you can burn things down like a forest. You can get rid of a forest or whatever, or you can scare animals away. But after a certain point, the wheel takes you from being a tribe to the moon, like machinery, transport, building large objects. You have the large architectural projects. You need the wheel, not just for wheelbarrows, but even moving big blocks and stuff like that.
I think you've kind of pointed it out that they're just different stages, really, of inventions. It's like, I hate when people say, "What's the greatest ever invention?" It's a fucking stupid question, because it's like, well, is steel more important than the internet? It's like you can't compare them. So
I know. I heard someone say that the greatest invention of the 20th century, like, if you think of the 20th century, all this shit that was invented, like airplanes, even not cars were invented before that, but they became popular in the 20th century. Fucking microwaves, the space shuttles, all this kind of shit, the atomic bomb. the internet. But like I heard some say that the most important thing invented in the 20th century is refrigeration, which took me a while to sort of think about why would that be that important? Because to me, refrigeration is just a fridge in the kitchen. I use it to keep vegetables cool or whatever. But if you think about what refrigeration can do, just the ability to cool things down as much as you want, or to freeze it and preserve things for medicine, for transport, like global, you can trade things across the world by refrigerating it. It doesn't have to be fresh. You can have strawberries anytime you want because of refrigeration, and you can keep things alive. You can grow things better with refrigeration. Like basically everything you do, even computers, you need refrigeration to keep things cool, to run all the power. Cars, you need refrigeration to keep cars cool and so on. So yeah, I think refrigeration is a good candidate for best invention of the 20th century, but not one that you would immediately think of.
No, but it makes a lot of sense. And while you were saying that, I had a quick Google of the greatest 20th century inventions just to see, and Time magazine had electric refrigeration as one. I'm only going to read the top 8 because I'm not going to click into the article and give someone ad money. But radio, television, transistor, laser, refrigeration, personal computer, wireless technology, manned spaceflight. A lot of those seem to overlap, but yeah, manned spaceflight. I mean, it's cool.
It's glamorous. Like you can immediately understand what's impressive about that. It's going to fucking space. That's incredible. But something like wireless communication is just fucking. I can't grasp it. I really don't understand still to this day really how it works so perfectly and how we got it working so perfectly very quickly, like talking to each other or even projecting images. Yeah, it's mind-blowing to me still, just the concept of radio. I'm stuck fucking 100 years in the past. Wow, radio. I can't believe radio. I just don't get it. I don't.
Podcast must amaze you.
I know, yeah. But I have to go on. I can't say this out loud very often because people will just be like, what the fuck? But like, I just don't get it. And no one else does either, but they just go, they don't ask about it. They're like, fuck it.
Yeah, but it happened so quickly in our lifetime. Remember, I mean, we all remember dial-up internet. And then all of a sudden it was on our phones. And I guess only rich people kind of had good internet on their phones for a while, but that was only for a few years. It felt like forever. Yeah. But like in the blink of an eye, I don't even remember getting good internet on my phone. It just happened. And it was like everyone had it.
I remember thinking it wouldn't catch on because I thought it would be too expensive. Because at the time, to use internet on your phone wiped the battery and cost so much fucking money, and there was nothing to do on your phone really with the internet. I just thought that it's a bit of a gimmick, being able to browse the internet on your fucking Nokia, whatever it was, being able to look at like 2 kilobyte images, like just square blocks, different colors or something. I was like, why would I want to do that?
Yeah,
I'll just use a computer.
You'd be such a rubbish dragon in Dragon's Den. You'd be like, that's a phase.
Or
the internet is a phase.
Or if I was on Dragon's Den 100 years ago and someone came in with a fridge.
on the original radio. You're just 100% stake for $100 million. Take it all.
Gimmick.
Yeah, because I remember like the first time using like internet on a phone. I don't know, was it like I was in O2 in the UK? I assume it was the same in Ireland on those kind of model phones too. But like you got charged per page, so like you go on like BBC Football, and then you'd want to like read the match report, and it would be another 12p to load up that page. Like what a scam! Considering every company just basically gives you free internet now. We got Wi-Fi and everything too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah. Well, like I remember getting an iPod Touch. I'd say probably 2008. This was not an iPhone. It was like a gutted iPhone. It was just like an iPod with the touch screen. and being able to use the internet on that, like on the Wi-Fi, was fucking incredible to me. Like being able to watch YouTube on that was astounding.
What was your like first phase of things to watch on YouTube? Because a lot of, depending on your age, you saw a lot of different things. Like I think for myself, it was just the random like 30-second funny videos, quote funny. But yeah, is there anything you can distinctly remember when you first got on YouTube?
I remember watching movies in 10-minute increments. Like there'd be like movies put up in 10 parts because the limit was 10 minutes on YouTube before. So you could only have max 10-minute runtime. So you could only people would upload pirated movies. I remember watching the Disney Hercules movie for some reason in 10 parts or whatever on YouTube and loving it. I was like, wow. That was my first thing.
Yeah, I can't even remember. I think it was just funny, like grannies falling over and stuff. That's what I.
Yeah,
that's all
and
I remember.
It quickly went into like wrestling clips, like old. I say old Attitude Era clips that was like a bit nostalgic and wasn't that long. It wasn't that long since it happened, but it was cool watching them. Still would do it if I could, but they have everything under lock and key now.
You find clips easy enough.
Yeah, but not the good ones.
No. Did you guys ever post on like message boards or forums?
No, I did.
Still do.
I did the chat room thing. Remember when you were a kid?
Oh, I never did that. I never did that. No,
that was fucking fucked up. Really, in hindsight,
I was, to be honest, creeped out by it. I was scared of it. I was like, there could be anyone in there.
Yeah, and there was, but I mean, at that point, you didn't have a picture or anything. You were just a kid on a computer talking to a load of pervs. But like, what were they going to do? Like, come find you? You know, it was.
Well, sometimes
it was just like, well, like,
yeah.
I mean, we all knew not to like give out our fucking phone numbers or our addresses or anything. That was it.
Like RuneScape and Habbo Hotel, that was littered with nonsense.
Yeah, RuneScape was weird.
I never
You
played
were
that
big
either.
into RuneScape. No, I thought you were, Flynn.
No, never played it.
I know people that still play it.
Oh my god!
Still going.
Yeah,
they're nonsense. You know that.
No.
If they're still playing it, they are the nonsense.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair assessment.
Yeah, that's my deduction. We spoke about man's space flight. The first man in space was Yuri Gagarin, who was Russian. Which leads me to the first football point. Roman Abramovich has been stripped of everything. Chelsea are in the mud. Do you think that you've seen a lot in the media now condemning, Russian oligarchs, connections to Putin? Do you think this is going to signal change for the likes of, Saudi investments in Newcastle, or is this just pandering to the current situation?
I really doubt it because I heard that Saudis were even considering buying Chelsea. Like that they'd buy it from Abramovich. I saw that was a rumor.
Yeah. I feel like it's too late. I feel like they've left it too long now. There's too many rich billionaire owners. I don't think they can. Like, it's kind of like, where do you draw the line? Someone made that point, and it's like, okay, well, the Russians, obviously we don't want the Russians owning anything. Oh, but we also definitely don't want the Saudis owning anything. It's like, are the Americans that much better when you look into it? And when you look into fucking slavery and child workers and all that kind of stuff, like, none of them should own any of them. They should all be supporters owned, but at the same time, we don't want that either, because we want to see the best players and the most money spent. So it's a tricky one. Maybe they should just cap it at Saudis and Russians and leave it at that.
Yeah, you can only be from those two places to own a football club in the Premier League now. That's the handicap. Yeah, it's weird. It's a strange one. I don't know where I kind of sit. I mean, Jurgen Klopp came out and he said today, I don't know if you saw it in the press conference recently, that like fans don't care where the money comes from, and they never have. I disagree, to be honest. I mean, it was only a few podcasts ago that we were condemning Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, or whatever they want to call it.
But
like,
I think, sorry,
yeah, go on.
I do think he has a point in that the Newcastle fans don't really seem to care. Do you know? I mean, they did a little bit, but like once Newcastle stay up, they don't give a shit. And once they go on and buy a load of players, they don't give a shit where it's coming from. I mean, Man City fans don't seem totally bothered by where their money is coming from either. Neither do PSG fans. It's the other fans have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. I don't know. I would.
If
I would
if
have
the
an issue
Saudi
with it.
Arabian government bought Arsenal, I would have to lose interest in them. Like I know everyone says, "Oh, I'd stop watching football if someone bought my team," but I don't think I'd stay following Arsenal if that happened. Like I would just drop out. Like why would I? How could I get any fucking enjoyment out of that whatsoever? Even if they win the Champions League 10 times over, it would be with these fucking blood money. Like I don't want to. And look, Chelsea fans are scum anyway. We know that much. So whatever about them. But, like you can split their history into pre and post Abramovich, and their history post Abramovich is success built on blood money from this scumbag oligarch, and their history before that was being a haven for right wing racists and hooligans. Like that's Chelsea's proud history. So they had none to lose anyway. They have none to believe in. They were always bottom of the barrel. But like actual teams with something to be proud of, yeah, it might make a difference.
Yeah, I'll speak from like a Palace perspective where we went, on the brink of bankruptcy and were bought out by a fan, Steve Parish, who, from what I understand, his source of wealth came from, I suppose, humble ways as opposed to Abramovich as the key example. But since we've kind of stabilized ourselves in the Premier League and we've sought other investment, we have had Josh Harris and I forget his first name, but Blitzer are the owners now. They're American, but you can see the changes to kind of like the ethics of the club pretty much straight away. Have you seen the fan tokens and like socio and all the kind of controversy around them now?
No.
Do you remember Liverpool playing Inter there the other week? Inter had that kind of kit on, and their sponsor was $sign Inter. It's just basically companies trying to get fans to spend fan tokens, so like Inter money or Crystal Palace money, to buy merchandise or things in the stadium or tickets. But it's basically just a Ponzi scheme, and it's no benefit for fans. It's only benefits really for anyone that's investing in it. But to kind of circle back into it, since the American investors, that's taken hold at Palace. It hasn't really taken off, but it's started, and it's failed at clubs like Inter. It's failed other places too, but it's not very good.
What is that in The Simpsons where someone spends a ton of money on some fake cash or something? What show is that?
I think that is.
That does happen. It's like itchy and scratchy dollars.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah, it's but like, I don't know. It's a fucking it's a scam. But kind of connected to that, like when I was in Anfield, it's cashless, which I find really weird. I went into Boojum the other day and I got a burrito, and I went to give her cash, and she was like, "No, we don't take cash." I was kind of like, "Isn't that illegal? This is legal tender." Like,
exactly. That's the definition of legal tender. Is that
how is my actual money not worth anything compared to this digital money that you can't even fucking see at this point? It's bonkers. Anyway, it just reminded me of that.
But it's the same, right? It's the same as that. If you want to buy a hot dog at Palace game, and it's £5, you should have the choice as legal tender to pay for it in cash, card, or in this fan token, should you wish. But what's happening is that they're evolving more and more products to the token that, like, eventually you'll go into your Boojum or you go into your Homestyle Road cafeteria at halftime and try and get a hot dog, and it will be like, yep, that's 5 Crystal Palace fan tokens. But to get those fan tokens, you've probably spent £10. So, yeah, bit of a scam.
Yeah.
The owners' history or like source of wealth across the Premier League is very unethical too, as you probably are aware. But even someone like the smaller scale, Brentford and Brighton's owners, gambling and online gambling, tons of investment companies. Watford, they're an investment company. Tottenham, even Spurs, they're currency trading. Yeah, it's all under our noses.
Your football should just be chucked in the fucking bin, really.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We should all follow Formula One, which has no ties to any Saudi Arabians or Qatari beheadings or anything like that.
I don't know. There's a bit of ignorance is bliss, I think. When people start talking about the politics of football, it kind of depresses me a little bit. So I just don't read into it. I just don't read about it. You know?
Yeah. It's better seeing Salah smash a penalty in than knowing that the money that laces his pockets is through the suffering of someone else.
Yeah. Just keep voting Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. Just don't worry about it. Just put your head deep down in the sand and just keep going. Do the same shit. Because things aren't as bad as they seem.
Have you been paid by them? Yeah. You're one sentence away from saying, and you know, if you're feeling about getting a takeaway coffee, just don't. Put that money away for 85 years. And you'll finally be able to afford a month's of rent.
Yeah. Just drive slower and you'll save on petrol.
That's it.
It's the solution.
Yeah. Use your tears when you cry yourself to sleep to clean your windows.
Yeah, so simple.
Yeah. Why didn't we think of this?
So I had an idea. I've got some. I don't know if they're hot takes. They're just footballing opinions. So I was just going to read them out one by one and let you guys say whether you agree or disagree. So what I might do is I might just read out the statement and go 3, 2, 1, and you just say yes or no.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
Okay? And then I might see where you get your opinions from. So the first one, Mohamed Salah is the best player in the league. Okay.
Agree.
Yes or no? In 3, 2, 1.
No.
Yes.
Kieran, you jumped the gun, but it's okay.
Sorry,
I'm joking. You know, actually, you know what? For some reason, I was thinking you were going to say in the world, and I already had my answer lined up. So, in the league, yes, okay. In the league, fine. He is.
Okay. And Kieran, you think the same?
I think people go to too many lengths to overanalyze like the league's top scorer, most electric player, most influential player. You know, I think that it doesn't need to be given too much thought to know the answer is yes.
And Flynn, who do you think is the best in the world then?
Mbappe.
Mm-hmm.
Was he playing the other night?
Yeah, he scored.
Yeah, but scoring a goal, like, I mean, that's what he's paid to do, isn't it?
It's very true. You've convinced me.
The postman doesn't celebrate delivering letters.
It's like what Harry Redknapp said when I can't remember the player, but he asked him for a goal bonus, and he said, "What the fuck do you think your weekly wage is for?" Enjoyed that.
Okay, well, I'm glad that we agree on that one. Let's go swiftly on. Chelsea are deservedly the most hated team in the league. All right, so yes or no in 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Yes. Just about.
Yeah.
There's nothing to like about Chelsea. There is nothing in their whole history that anyone could like about Chelsea other than Chelsea fans and Americans, or like, because they like Pulisic. That's it.
Mm. What I found interesting about this is that number one, you have to agree that they're the most hated team in the league, and number two, you have to agree that they deserve it. I
Oh,
wasn't
God,
even
yeah.
sure that they are the most hated team in the league, but I
They
think right
they
now,
might not be, just because there's so many glory hunters who just love him, and I guess there might be people who just hate Leeds. Like there are people who, like maybe 50% of people hate Leeds, whereas Chelsea has more lovers than Chelsea has more lovers. More people love Chelsea than love Leeds.
Like, yeah, that's what kind of threw me off a little bit too in that question as well. Is that deservedly, yes. Are they the most? That's kind of hard to say. There's a lot of teams that get a lot of venom off fans for a lot of other reasons, not like historical reasons or their owners or their fans. A
Maybe
lot of people would
United.
hate United and Liverpool for success reasons. Yeah,
United might be the most loved and the most hated.
that's what I thought, because I think more people hate United than hate Chelsea, but
Maybe.
way more people love United than love Chelsea as well, so it probably balances out. And right now, people hate Chelsea, I think.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm laughing at it. I'm loving. I hope they sink into a fucking deep dark abyss.
Yeah, like it's not their fault that their owner is Russian, but it's definitely their fault that they are racists and every other thing.
They took the
That's
money.
kind of stuff,
They took
yeah.
the money. I don't want to hear.
and they knew,
Yeah.
and they knew well. It was only 2012 that all of this stuff came out as well, when he had that big litigation with his former partner, where they basically admitted that to stay afloat when Putin came into power, that it was like you keep 50% of your wealth for like 100% of your loyalty, and it was all blood money and like state-owned brown envelope stuff. So like, we're only 10 years ago that this stuff was all very open, and people decided, you know what, it's okay, it's still okay. So yeah, no sympathy there.
And did they ever like protest against him or anything? Never.
Oh God, no. They love him.
legs
They
are
chant
open.
his names. Yeah.
Yeah, they still chant his name.
Yeah, they interrupting
yeah.
like a Ukrainian tribute or whatever to chant his name. Like these people. Anyway,
These fuckers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This one, I'm okay. Number 3. So Arteta is the most underrated manager in the league. What a statement. So yes or no in 3, 2, 1.
no.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
He's not underrated now. I think people are generally in agreement that he's doing a good job. Whereas someone like, say, Brendan Rodgers is underrated.
Oh, stop.
What?
Behave.
turn the recording off right now.
How is Brendan Rodgers not the most underrated manager in the league?
You should. Do you know what? They actually probably had a better full squad available today than Arsenal. Like, Arsenal have a much better 11, but in terms of the players that he could bring on, they were worse. And sure, where are they? Like 12th, 13th?
He's going
He
to the
should be-
Conference League.
That in itself speaks volumes about Brendan Rodgers as a fucking manager. Like,
He's planning.
No. Yeah.
He's taking the path of least resistance, like towards trophies. Like last season, wins the FA Cup. That was what he focused on. He got it. He achieved his goal. This year, his goal is European silverware for Leicester.
They won't even get that.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I
Rod
agree
has
with
never failed when he has set his mind to something.
Gucci
Kieran.
belt. I agree with Flynn up until he mentioned Brendan Rodgers. But yeah, in August, yes, the answer would have been yes. Arteta was probably seen as underrated, but I think where we are now, he's proven his worth.
I
And
underrated him. Like I wasn't sold on him up until a few months ago.
Yeah.
the thing with this was I was actually going to change that question from Arteta, but I couldn't find someone more suitable for the question because I think it is like people go on about Dave Moyes and fucking we're still talking about Ragnick and all these fuckers. Like, I think it's still going under the radar what a good job he's doing. People don't really talk about Arteta that much. It's just kind of, oh yeah, Arsenal are back in top 4. That's where they should be. But you're not looking at the teams around them that they're beating and like I think have 2 games a hand or something. So I thought it was a fair 3 games a hand. So I think it's hard to find a more underrated manager. I think that's why it's an interesting question.
They have 3 in hand over United and West Ham and Wolves, who are like all below them. They only have 2 in hand on everyone else. But yeah, only 2 in hand.
Excellent, really. It's excellent.
Fucking hell, yeah. Nothing but W's for, like as long as I can remember.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Man United won't win a Premier League for at least 10 years.
10 years from now?
Yes, for another 10 years.
Another 10 years?
From now. So in 3, 2, 1.
No.
Yes, just to be contrarian. Yeah.
You're a fucker. That's why I'm saying 3, 2, 1. All right. Flynn, you think they'll win a Premier League in the next 10 years?
I do. I think when Pep leaves, like it's City's and Liverpool's for the near future. But when Pep and Klopp leave, whenever that might be, I'd say like 2-3 years, you wouldn't know what could happen. United are just too big and they have too many resources. It would take decades for them to be completely out of the running. They have to go on. Liverpool went how long did Liverpool go?
30 years.
30 years,
yeah.
And they were still kind of hovering near the top. The only thing now is that there are more clubs with more backing. Like there are clubs like Newcastle or whatever coming along, but still I don't think United are that far. They have too much money. They have too much draw for players. It's if they had a good manager with this team, they could be right. They finished second last season. They could be.
That was a freak season, though. It was.
I know. What fucking? They finished second a couple, 2 or 3 seasons before that. Then as well.
Did they? Oh, with Mourinho, yeah.
Freak season again.
These recurring freak seasons.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. I just, like you said, I can see other teams overtaking them, and it's happening right now. And they're not going to get Champions League this season. It'll take them another few years to get back to top 4, and other teams are coming up fast.
They could still win the Champions League this season.
Yeah, but they're not gonna.
They could happen.
Let's be
So
real.
could I. Freak season.
Kieran, you think it will be at least 10 years?
Well, funnily enough, I actually misunderstood the question and answered wrong. But just for the sake of giving a different answer, I'll go down the route of while I think it's more probable that within 10 years, an established team like Man United, will always be knocking around. I mean, even their bad seasons were, 6th or 7th? That's it's not really bad, is it? But I'll look at it from the other side, that I think it will be virtually impossible to dislodge Manchester City from always being either winning the title or title contenders based on the money that they have, the pool that they have, and the foundations that they've laid in. That even their youth teams just dominate completely, and that's really hard to dislodge that. So, yeah, that's my altered answer.
I don't know about that, because
Okay.
the only thing separating City from United in that conversation is the youth teams, which, how many youth players have Man City brought through? Foden and well, that's it really. So that's one player. There's not a huge difference between the teams. Like Man United can spend big, and they have, I would say, more draw than City. It's just that City actually have long-term planning in mind. Like they were planning for Pep before Pep came. They were hiring backroom people who worked at Barcelona to lay down the foundations for Pep's team. And like when you've got the best manager in the world and you plan long term around him and give him everything he wants. I mean, they're doing it perfectly. They're doing everything perfectly, and it's amazing they're still so close to Liverpool, which really tells you how good Klopp is. But
Yeah.
Manchester, like once Pep leaves, whenever that could be, he could leave at the end of the season. You wouldn't know what he'd do. This fella, he could do anything, and who are they going to get to replace him? Like, it might not be as perfect as it is at the moment, and if United were just had a better manager, they could be right up there as well, right with City. I don't think City are impossible to dislodge at all. Pep is impossible to dislodge, maybe, but not City.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I just think that in 10 years' time, Pep Guardiola could decide to stay for another 10 years and he'd still be like a relatively young manager in the Premier League, which is a funny thought.
I know, yeah.
And maybe they're doing it behind the scenes already. If it is this forethought they have in this planning, maybe there's someone that we have no idea about. There's a manager they have their eye on that they're like, this is the contingency plan.
I don't know. Or
Had I
Vieira.
known- Yeah, he worked with Guardiola too. It's interesting to think, right, that two teams having outstanding seasons have worked closely with Pep Guardiola over the past few years.
Mm.
But I digress.
What about Liverpool having a great season? An apprentice of Ragnick.
What?
Wasn't Klopp one of Ragnick's proteges?
I don't think so. I think they're just both German, and I think he's
That's sure
credited
it's all the same.
the German style that Tuchel and fucking Klopp have. But I don't know. I'm certainly not seeing it in his management anyway. Look, it's nearly 10 years since they won the last Premier League, and those 10 years fucking happened quick. So we'll see anyway. Right, this is next one. Palace will finish top half of the league next season.
Next season.
Top half. So next season, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's.
Sure, they're
think we
what, 11th at the moment?
And we're not having a brilliant season. We've cocked up a little bit.
Yeah, but like there's room for improvement. So
Yeah.
only need a tiny bit of improvement to finish top half.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
agree. I just wanted Kieran's take, just in case there's a bit of worry about, the new manager bounce that he had. Is that going to be kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, no worry. No worries at all. We need to invest well because we've got a couple of players that are on their final years, like Kouyaté, Joe Ward. Joe Ward shouldn't be in the Premier League, but he is. If we reinvest well, I think we have one of the most exciting front three or front four combinations in the league. If we do it right, who knows? Champions League awaits.
The only thing is, I'm not just looking at the table. The teams below Palace, like right now, you'd have teams like Leicester, Brighton, Newcastle, and maybe if they stay up, Everton and actually get their fucking act together, who could finish ahead of Palace.
Yeah. It's true. It's very competitive. It is. But I'd argue you can look above Southampton, Villa, Wolves, even West Ham. They're all replaceable in that top half.
Wolves, fucking hell, they don't get enough stick. And Bruno Lage, they played the most boring football in the whole league. They are the worst to watch in the whole fucking league. And they ruined their chance at European football through rotation in big games. They lost all these big games against their teams they're competing with European places for, and they completely rolled over for all of them. And they, well, except Tottenham. And they also started rotating their best players. Like, what are you rotating for? This is the matches you need them for. I don't know. He blew it anyway. They're not getting European places now. They ruined their chances. Fucking jeez, I hate watching Wolves. I love watching them lose.
Yeah. What I particularly don't like about Wolves too, actually, is I know they've got like a load of Portuguese players and stuff, but they are reminiscent of the continent football where they'll get a lead and then they'll just be on the ground for like 75% of the time, just
Mhm.
wasting time, cheating, trying to get players booked. Like the sending off for Everton today was Raul Jimenez. Like you could, when you hear a player scream and they haven't got an injury, it grinds my gears a lot. And it's basically the entire Wolves team are just like, shit houses for that kind of stuff. So yeah, look, nice kit though.
I guess.
Great. Worst football, but nice kit. Next one. Harry Kane will surpass Alan Shearer's Premier League goal scoring record. In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lads. Fuck. I
Sorry.
really don't. We actually talked about this at the start of this season, and I thought he wouldn't, and I think he both thought he would. So I was thinking after this season, he might change your mind, but he's still like 80 goals away or 90 goals away or something.
How many goals does he this season?
11
So he just
this year.
Yeah,
In the league?
In the league, yeah. And it's a bad year for him, like, yeah.
Oh, it's a horrible year for him. 11
Yeah.
goals?
Yeah, but he's not getting better either, is he?
Yeah.
He's 28.
Sorry, Siri just responded to me.
Bitch.
He thought so.
Rude. Yeah, I just think, okay, in the next 2 or 3 seasons, he might get 20 goals a season. He'd still be 20 or 30 goals off. And that's if he gets 20 goals a season for the next 3 years, which, I don't know. I'm not convinced, but you both are. You're not.
I wouldn't say I'm convinced, but I'd say he's a very, very good chance.
Is he not actually 100 goals off? Because he just scored.
Oh my god.
What is this bitch? Is she mocking me?
I'm sorry. I think I'm accidentally pressing my watch.
Fucking well.
Well, I think he has a very, very good chance. Fuck you, Siri. Based on what? He's I think he just scored his 170 something goal, and Shearer has 280, doesn't he? So he's 100 goals off. He'd have to play till he's 37, like Ronaldo, and it doesn't look like he'll be going at 37.
Is it total goals in all competitions, or is it just in the Premier League?
Just Premier League.
All right.
Shearer is way ahead. Who's
He
next?
is, yeah.
It Rooney? Rooney is like 70 or 60 goals behind him or something.
I think Kane is the kind of striker, though, that will play, late into his career and still do well. Like, he's 28. It's not too much to say that he could, have a 20-goal season at 33 in 5 years' time. I don't think that's too much to think, really.
That's like Messi, though. Harry Kane is not Messi.
Correct. Is that a question? Yes.
That's true. All right, look, we'll move on. You've given me your answer, but I like this one. Pep Guardiola is the best manager in Premier League history. There's a bit to think about there.
Shit.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
No.
Yes. No.
I'll go with Kieran because he's in there quick.
It has to be Ferguson. And then closely behind by Wenger and then Mourinho. He's in and around there, but yeah.
So
it is Ferguson.
I would clarify. The question is, Pep Guardiola is the best manager in Premier League history, not the best Premier League manager in history. Do you know what I mean? So he did manage probably the best team ever in Barcelona.
Steve Keane. I think same answer for me.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah,
just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. So Leeds were right to sack Bielsa in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
ooh,
finally.
They were they're still doing shit. They shouldn't have hired Jesse March. This guy, holy Jesus. But they're just losing constantly, and they were looking at relegation dead in the face, and any other manager would be sacked as well. So even Ranieri, after getting Leicester winning the league with Leicester was sacked. When he still had him in the Champions League, they were still winning in the Champions League, and he was sacked. When you have your club in that position, it's just the way it is. So, I think.
Okay. And Kieran?
Yeah, the benefit of hindsight is that they weren't actually. It probably wasn't Bielsa, even though he was stubborn and he probably should have changed things. Even today, barely scraped past the worst team in the league, Norwich, and it won't change. And they probably still will go down. So ultimately, it's the same outcome. Whoever would have been manager, I think they're going to get relegated anyway. And then Watford are going to stay up instead of them, and that's horrible to think of. But
Fucking hell.
Ugh.
That's a hot take.
Watford.
That's a hot tamale. Ooh.
Everton are going to finish like 13th as well. That's my other hot take.
The next few, I'm not sure how hot these are, but I thought they were interesting. Leicester are a top 6 club. 3, 2, 1.
No.
No, me neither. They're not.
Rodgers can only take him so far.
Like
Like
Rodgers
the top,
is a cod.
am I right? Are we all in agreement that the top 6 are City, Liverpool, Arsenal, United, Spurs, and shit? Who am I missing? I'm missing
Chelsea.
one. Oh, Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah, and even Spurs is a question mark next to it.
Spurs were like honorary members for a while.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not Spurs, you're putting in fucking West Ham, and we don't want that either.
No, but it's close. Spurs are very close to being replaced. They're only in there because they've been around a while. It's just participation trophy top 6 is what they are.
They had a good decade. The past decade was good to Spurs, and they still didn't win anything. Not a thing. Not a thing.
Not a sausage.
Fuck me.
All right. Next one. So, Sean Dyche deserves more credit for the job he's done at Burnley. 3, 2, 1.
No.
Yes.
He gets enough credit. Like, he gets the right amount of credit. I always say this, like, he's not underrated. He's Sean Dyche. He has Burnley playing Burnley football.
But even what Burnley did this season, like I don't think they were rock bottom, but remember they had like fucking 4 games at hand and they were looking really bad. Like, you have to go out and you have to win those games then, and he has done. Did he beat United or drew to United? He got some really good results.
Yeah,
And
but I don't think he's underrated. Like,
Hmm.
I was never worried about him because he's gonna get some results. He's gonna lose a lot of games. He's gonna win the odd game, and he has Burnley playing as well as Burnley could play, I guess.
I think he's got them playing better than most managers could get Burnley playing, if I'm honest.
Oh well, he has some fucking cavemen in there. Yeah, he's working with some shit.
Yeah, and like they have no budget, like basically nothing. Kieran?
Yeah, I just think that any other manager at Burnley would be in like League 2. They'd actually be in like the National League North at this point. I think that he's working miracles, and yeah, he does get plaudits. But I'd say his job must be absolute misery. Like, it must be the worst thing to wake up in the morning and be like, I have to not only manage these bunch of shit. I have to, my job and my career and my family's livelihood is on the line. To have to live in Burnley and try and scrape them out of the relegation zone every year, and for that alone, I don't think he gets enough credit.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Sorry, I argued your point before you did, but anyway.
No,
The
it's fair.
last one, I have to think we'll all be in agreement here. The Aguero goal to win City the league will never be topped as a moment. 3, 2, 1.
No.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
So it will never be topped. Sorry. It's a weirdly worded question. So you think it could be topped?
Yes.
Just because there's infinite possibilities of better things happening.
Well, I'll give you one good possibility of something happening is the same thing happening to any team other than fucking City.
Yeah,
True.
This was before City did their thing, though, wasn't it? It was like their first.
I think it
league
was their
in
first
however-
league, and I think most people just loved it because it fucked United over, which was hilarious, and it's still hilarious to
100%.
this day.
Yeah.
Watching Ferguson and Phil Jones and the lads on the field, like at the
Yeah.
other game. I forget who they even played. Was it like Sunderland or someone? But
Yeah, it was.
yeah, and they'd won their game, and they were just looking at the clock, and they were looking around themselves, and Ferguson eventually telling them all, come into the dressing room, everyone into the dressing room, because it was clear they had lost the title.
Mm.
That was beautiful. That was very nice. Really, really
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, it's just City. So like, honestly,
Right.
Leicester winning the league was better.
Yeah,
But that's not
that
a
was.
that's not a specific moment, I guess.
I think the same. I because that's what came to mind for me as well. But I couldn't pick out one moment.
Yeah, they didn't even win it in their own game. It was Chelsea
Exactly.
beating Spurs that won them the league.
Yeah,
Eden Hazard won the league for Leicester. Like,
yeah. Kieran, you have anything to add?
One thing to add, I agree with everything that's been said, but I was reading recently that that Aguero goal was up there with one of the biggest conspiracy theories of match fixing. That whole game had so many events and so much at stake and so much money on it. Even the fact that it was like, what was it, 7th minute that he scored the goal in, was that there was like collusion between the referees and betting syndicates and whatnot.
No.
And I found it quite interesting because
no.
yeah, I know. I mean, you can make everything a conspiracy theory when you just say that like the mafia are involved, or this sinister group of people. You go into the shops. But the mafia wanted Connor to go to the shops and buy that twirl. Twirls have indirect, influence on the war in Ukraine right now, and so on. You can just build these conspiracies.
Very good. Those are my hot takes. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. You have to do that every week now. No pressure.
Okay. Shit.
That was good. It was nice to think a bit outside of the current season too. I like that.
And it was nice to have you give opinions as well for once.
Yeah, everyone turned off, I guess, when they started to hear him. But yeah, it's nice.
Okie doke. Anything else? Midweek games coming up. Anything to add, Connor? Do you think we'll smash you?
I actually think Arsenal may lose Liverpool just because Arsenal have lost Liverpool a lot lately. But I'm not dejected about it. Even if they lose, they've done enough good work the past few games, winning all these games, that they can absorb a loss. So a loss is not devastating here, and it's the toughest game left to play. So anything at all, I'd be delighted with a draw. I'd be over the moon with a win. It'd be amazing. But I can watch it kind of free from much worry because they've done the work the past few weeks. Like the performances the past few weeks have meant I can take anything from this game against Liverpool. I do think Arsenal will probably lose, but I'm okay.
I'm a bit worried about it, to be honest. I think Salah's injured.
Yes, we're gonna fuck it.
And we haven't been amazing recently. I think there's a lot of games and there's a bit of rotation. But probably not enough. And I don't know. It could be the banana skin, but hopefully Kieran Palace will do us a favour tomorrow and City will lose.
Yeah, that's the plan. We give them a good game tomorrow now. And by the time we record next, Palace will be in an FA Cup semi-final. And that's going to be brilliant. It's going to be in Wembley.
Lovely.
Patrick Vieira's maiden season. We were supposed to be relegated in November, and here we are now. Doorstop of Wembley and the dizzying heights of 11th.
Nice one.
Thank you. My other hot take is that Brighton won't win a game until May.
Wow.
You can quote me on that.
Okay.
They have Spurs, City, Norwich, Arsenal, Spurs, Southampton, and Wolves before May, and they're in free fall. So fuck them and up the Palace.
I'll never walk alone.
Come on the arse.
Come on, the arse.
You've been listening to the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. For more of our content, make sure that you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. Outro music.